Keith, seems like most of us made it through the snow without any major issues. We got the big winds coming up on Wednesday night. Is there a big focus right now on this freezing rain coming in tonight?
There might not be a big focus, but it's something you should be aware of. And the only reason it's not a huge deal is because...
focus was the wrong word.
No, yeah. I mean, treated roads tend to do okay in these situations, so that's the advantage. But you know those side streets that still have a little snow on them, and then the freezing rain. One of them. Yeah, the freezing rain goes on top of it. Now those are the ones you need to worry about. Highways and whatnot, even though the turnpike did lower their speed limit, it seemed, I don't think there'll be issues there. But there is a pocket of freezing drizzle moving in right now. We talked about how all day the temperature profile was conducive to freezing rain, but there wasn't much moisture. Now there is a little bit more starting to move in, and all of this is freezing rain. So that's something over the next few hours to be aware of. Models don't have that much, so there's more freezing drizzle than the models had indicated. I'm not too concerned about that discrepancy, but just something to note over the next couple of hours. And then they do fill that precipitation back in 10 to midnight tonight, and there's another period of freezing rain and freezing drizzle that lasts into early tomorrow morning. None of this is heavy though until we get until around sunrise tomorrow, and that's when we start seeing heavy rain along the coastline and still a little freezing drizzle away from the coastline in the morning. Quickly though, we're able to scour that out and we go over to all rain, and it rains pretty hard through the middle of the day. There could even be a rumble of thunder involved in this because we've hit every other type of weather with this system, so why not, right? That's the downpours through the middle of the day into the early afternoon. And then we'll have a squall line coming through tomorrow night. And that's where we have to talk about the winds, because there'll be a period of time, in my experience doing this in Maine, it's a short period of time that we have to mix the winds down from the low-level jet and get our strongest wind gusts. I think between a half hour and an hour. And so that time period over southern Maine will be about 7 to 10 p.m. There'll be heavy rainfall, the winds will start to kick up, and you'll know that's your chance that you're going to either mix these winds down or things will be a little bit more mellow, but most likely we mix these winds down to the surface. 10 to midnight over the mid-coast, and then midnight to 2 a.m. over down East Maine. That's when that squall line goes through, and then things settle down. So these are tricky because you don't have much time to really maximize the wind potential. But I think we'll do pretty good here, or not good, but the winds will be pretty strong, 50 to 60 miles an hour. And then over down east and the mid-coast, I put 60 to 70 miles an hour. That includes, by the way, Bangor. Wind right up the river there means that it doesn't really matter if you're right along the coastline or not. And that will obviously lead to some power outages. This is what we call a power disruption index, and it takes into account a couple different factors: the wind speed, soil moisture, foliage, all that. And it has the power outage risk go right up the coastline with that squall line tomorrow night. And the rain, of course, will be going on throughout the day, will add up to 2 to 2.5 inches. We will see some flooding in the mountains and foothills. This does not look like what we dealt with in December 2023. One thing we will have to watch a little bit here is ice jams, because it's been cold. And so there's no model that predicts ice jams really. So that's something we'll have to watch in the foothills and mountains, and then we all settle down. Power outage pendulum we talked about is, in my experience, is a very, very thin line there where 5 or 6 miles an hour higher, and all of a sudden it's a major power outage event. So that's, I wish we could say we're within 2 or 3 miles an hour, but we don't really know. We know we're going to be 50 plus. If we're 61, 62, 63, I think we start having big problems.
Just be prepared for that, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Keith.